All right, welcome back yet again after the very short break. We got more PG action coming at your face for PGCQ2. I hope y'all ready for that. We of course have RMC, but we got a new face on the desk with us, the number one Renata player in the world. Of course, shout out sports support extraordinaire, Mr. Yoki. How you feeling?
What's up, man? I'm feeling good. That hey, this next set of games has a lot to live up to. If it's gonna be half as exciting as that last one, that is actual insanity, dude.
Man, you know what? For your sake and mine, I cannot handle it personally. So I'm personally not too sure as to how I'd be able to do so, considering how hard my heart is beating already. But I'm hoping that things are a little bit more painful. Let's get into things in the match for today. How about RMC start us off?
Okay, so our second match for the evening, as you can see below, is EG Prodigies versus Ginger Turmeric. And once again, EG Prodigies is a very familiar name to those who did follow PGCQ1, but a very different roster. Well, actually, no, sorry, same roster as the PGCQ1, but different from the 2021 roster for EG Prodigies here. On the other side, Ginger Turmeric, they're a brand new team coming in, and we didn't know a lot about them originally coming in, but after we've seen them through OQs, we're seeing, we know a little bit more. DNA, City Witty, both players who have played in amateur before. Duo King, well player as well, did play with Dinka Never Homeless last split, and I believe Yoki, you know a little bit more about them from solo queue as well. And their top laner, Existence. This is a guy who's played in the TCL and I believe the LCL before as well, so a little bit of pro experience coming in that top side, and definitely somebody that I want to keep my eyes on.
Yeah, I definitely don't disagree with you, considering how good these players have been, right? Like you were talking about, just within just City Witty and stuff. But yeah, okay, I did want to get your experience and your take on some of the players that you personally encountered.
Well, we talked about it a little bit before. Not trying to brag or make this all about me or anything, but Perry, our co-champions, we played all together in Twitch Rivals, won the whole thing. It wasn't a big deal or anything. But I'm not gonna sit here and say that like I'm rooting for Perry, but I am rooting for Perry.
I most definitely, considering how good Perry has been. Yeah, Perry is quite good, but I would say, on the other end, we do of course have with the full match between Ginger Turmeric and EGP, like RMC was saying, a very spicy sort of takes, because like some of the players that I'm personally looking at to be able to lay down the law have been, players like Sketch and Faisal, who are some of the best team fighters in the league, right? Because he's showing up for this team time and time again. I'm personally thinking that we might see more of that today, but RMC, what are you thinking about that?
Yeah, I'd agree, especially Sketch, who you mentioned here. I've always been a bit of a fan for Sketch streams, even last split as well, when he was playing with AOE Esports before he got picked up by EG Prodigies here. And I think he's a very strong AD carry, not just as a team fight player, but in lane as well. And I do think that we've kind of been sleeping a little bit on him here. In the OQs, Sketch actually had the second highest kill share of all players. So this is a guy who will put his team on his back and carry. And on the flip side of things for Ginger Turmeric, Legrain is an AD carry as well, who has performed really well, and more interestingly, on very off-meta champions, Callista, Tristana, champions that we're not seeing a lot of, not really hyper-carry champions. Legrain likes to take control of the lane and run from there, so I'm expecting to see a lot of friction in this bot lane here.
Fun fact for you all as well, Legrain actually has 37% kill share in his overall tournament. He is 4th, right alongside Niles, which is such an insane stat to have, that he, as an ADC player, has been performing out of his mind, which I absolutely love to see. But across the board, I think this match should be very, very close. I'm definitely looking a lot at, just jungle alongside ADC yet again. So similar sort of focuses, but a close one of that, because we know EGP across the board to be a team that scales. So we'll see if the scaling factor has come into today. So with that being said, I did want to get your predictions for today, gentlemen. Yoki, starting off with you, if you have any.
Period. Statement. Perry 1v9s. Never been more confident about anything in my life. Although I do want to give a shout out to Duo King. He is easily one of the most intelligent players I've ever encountered in solo queue. Now, pretty opinionated, and we'll leave it at that. very, very strong opinions, but really just incredible game sense, especially in everything revolving around bot lane. Like he plays ADC and support, which is like pretty unheard of, I think, from a lot of players. So he gets to see kind of like both perspectives. And, I don't know how this team operates, but if they've got Duo King in any sort of like leadership or shot calling position, their bot lane's going to win.
All right, respects on that. Perry 1v9s, and there's no bias around that at all, of course. RMC, but where does your bias lie?
Ooh, that's tough because I do really respect EGP. I like a lot of their players, but I have gone with Ginger Turmeric here specifically for two reasons. One, existence. We talked about the fact that existence has former pro experience, and I think a lot of that will transition very well here into the PGCQ. And two, because we don't have a lot of information on Ginger Turmeric. I don't know how well EG Prodigies can scout them out, and I think that mystery factor right now will give them a little bit of an edge, just what they need to sort of get over the hump and win this first series here. So I'm going to give it to them 2-1, but I think it's going to be a really close 2-1.
That's respectable. That's fair. I'm personally going for the bold predictions, as with any of these. And I'm a man who loves my spice as an Indian home brother. Right? Everything that I know is ginger, is turmeric. So it just makes sense for me to go for this team. It's going to be that 2-0, of course, baby. So I'm staying strong my predictions. No need to flip over like last time. This is where it's going to be. But for some other human beings who I know who like to keep it spicy as well, let's throw it up to our casters for the day. That being Smacks and Destructs, who looking quite fine.
Is that so, Ravish? I think so more with Smacks and that beautiful curls you have up there, Smacks, looking fine indeed. But now, ready for the next match. It's going to be a tough act to follow, Smacks, after that last series. We're moving on from the extremes of the seeds and now into the middle of the pack. At 7th seed, Evil Geniuses Prodigies look to carve their next chapter of prospects against a team that, well, quite frankly, burst out of nowhere in 10th seed Ginger Turmeric.
Yeah, I think it's no surprise, or no secret, I should say, why this team is playing in this tournament. They do really want to have that extra competitive side of things on the Champions queue. That has been a really big bonus that a lot of these teams are playing in this tournament to try to attain. Now that they are in top 16, they have gotten there. They are allowed to play in that event. And from here on out, the only thing they can do is try to win this competition as well. They already got here, Deserek, so why not try to win the whole thing? I'm really excited for a team like Ginger Turmeric, especially against Evil Geniuses Prodigies, and seeing that our desk is slightly more favored on the team that doesn't have LCS affiliation. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, pretty exciting indeed. The one hyped up one was Existence, but Smacks, you and I were talking a little bit during the analyst desk. I know you're a little bit hyped on DNA and his time with Dig Mig.
Yeah, I'm really excited that DNA is back in our tournament because I really appreciated the growth that he showed to us in 2021 on Dignitas Mirage. The start of the year, he definitely did not look very good, and I was really down on Dignitas Mirage. I did not have a lot of high expectations, but by the end, he was actually performing really, really well. And I was really remiss seeing him outside of the space after that first split. It's been a long time since I've seen some DNA gameplay, and I'm really glad that he is back. Specifically, a lot of his mage champions have been really impressive. The Syndra ban is specifically for that.
On the side of Ginger Turmeric, they ban heavily towards that ADC pool. EGP gonna grab this area right away. This going on to Sketch who we were just talking about Immortals AoE. Sketch who was brought up last year a lot off of AoE and has shown some pure raw aggression in that lane.
This is really, really exciting for the lane, especially, like you're saying. I think the aggression can definitely come out across the board. The one thing that I think Ginger Turmeric can really have over Evil Geniuses Prodigies in this specific matchup is actually jungle, in the early game specifically. I think the City Witty has had, in his tenure playing League of Legends, a lot bigger of an impact in the early game than what we've seen of Perry early on in the last tournament. One of our fellow colleagues named Beatdown Boulevard dubbed it Farming Fever from the jungle, as Perry played a lot of early game champions, just full cleared and waited until late game to actually activate. Hopefully that doesn't happen to him again today.
The next set of picks come in for Ginger Turmeric, going straight for the Senna. Going to grab the Gwen over going to the top lane over on Existence. This is one of the sugar laners that we've been talking about, Existence, just because of having that Turkish pro scene experience and being able to bring that towards the rest of the squads that's been picked up from NA Amateur.
Honestly, with how successful the other Turkish imports have been in North America, I fully trust Existence skill. You think of like Kluser and Luger. These guys are already in LCS after only being around for a few years. So I'm pretty pumped to see what that looks like in the top lane. Of course, Turmeric hovering Renata. She's not enabled for this tournament, but it's nice to get a look at the new champion.
All right, the draft so far, Ginger Turmeric taking the Senna, Gwen, and going to round it out with the Tom Kench. Meanwhile, EGP, Zeri, Lulu, and Rise. So you have the Lulu, you have the Enchanter support there. It does quite a bit to enable when you do take that Zeri over into the bottom lane. We keep talking about health picks and what that can do when it's put onto the Zeri with those auto attacks or skill shots on top of it.
Yeah. This is the exact kind of champion that I would love to see Sketch play in this game, and luckily we are going to see him play it, as we have 5 other marksmen banned off the board. Interestingly, Zeri not one of them, even after the performances we just saw from Yen in the last series. I'm super pumped to see Sketch, one of the best performing teamfight players that we saw in all of last tournament on this very, very new champion. I think this is going to be a great game for him.
There's an argument to be had that Sketch is one of the top end of ADCs when it comes to the entirety of this tournament. So some quite a bit of agency in his hands as he does have this Zeri and Lulu. So we head into the second phase of draft. GTC going to focus on the jungle pull as they take away the Xin Zhao and the Lee Sin. EGP just with the Nico for now.
Yeah, the Nico ban is really curious. Of course, for those of you who are unaware, this champion did just get 3 pretty sizable buffs on the last patch. As you can see, it is 12.4. So those have come through for this event. Vex also removed from the pool, so just trying to make sure it's a little safer for Leo in the Rise matchup mid against DNA. A lot of these control mages are really comfortable for this player. There is still things like the Orianna, the Lilia as well, that I know he really likes to play in mid lane, surprisingly enough. So DNA's champion pool is still alive and kicking.
So the next lock-in will go for the mid lane, Cassiopeia, getting locked in for GTC. We have seen some strange flexes with the cast before, so you still have counterpick on the priority of GTC. Next pick's coming off for EGP.
Yeah, this is the matchup that was attempted to be avoided last time against Drudo's Cassiopeia with the Rise. They banned that one away. Again, it is because the movement speed that Rise gets is halted quite heavily by Miasma. And the Petrifying Gaze too. Rise does really like to play inside the range of that, so he can get hit by that spell. DNA on this champion has a pretty solid matchup. See if he can actually use that one to extend the damage further, as Ginger Turmeric do actually have quite a bit of damage on this composition.
And it's returned quite aggressively on the side of EGP. Finishing it up with the Gragas that's going to round out. You can get some late game scaling working for that. You can get some damage working for that. You get disruption is one of the main things that you get by having this Gragas. And with everything else they have, it is skirmish heavy out of EGP with the Rise and the Zeri. But the final pick for Ginger Turmeric is going to be the Kazakhs. Get that assassin jungler going.
They were keeping the Gwen a secret on where it was actually going until the last moment where they realized Gwen into Gragas, that's probably a pretty fine matchup. We can just keep that one and give City Witty a devastating counter pick. And it will be Kazakhs. The isolation damage is going to be very scary in this game. Across the board, Evil Genius's Prodigies have 2 very distinct battle lines. They've got Gragas and Viego in the front, and they've got Rise, Zeri, and Lulu in the back. If you can disperse that with things like the Cassiopeia zoning and the Gwen in and out with the needlework, that Kazakhs is going to be really scary.
That's what I'm so excited for right here. This is something that City Witty likes to play, the Kazakhs. He loves to carry. If he can have his lanes online, if he can have those enabled, he will destroy this map here and today. So it's going to be to EGP. It's going to be a tough one to manage, trying to track out where the bug's going to be going, where he's going to slither his way onto. Who's he stalking to make his next prey?
Is Kha'Zix the one slithering? I think Cassiopeia probably a little bit more on the slither side.
I just always think bugs, and I also automatically think slithering, and kind of forget there's a sneaky snake right here in Cassiopeia DNA.
Maybe they're both going to be slithering in tandem for this one. As we have so much damage on Ginger Turmeric's side. They really only have the Tahm Kench in the front line to be tanking up all of the hits, which is maybe going to be a field day for Sketch. He's got this Zeri and doesn't have to worry about these tanks that can oftentimes give Zeri a tough time. If he can get in range, then he will deal devastating blows to all of these very squishy targets, especially with the Lulu.
And there's so much to peel stuff off the Zeri. It's going to be real hard. It's going to be a tall task for Ginger Turmeric to try and stay locked down onto Sketch streams and stop them from, doing what Zeris can do. We had memed about it a little bit earlier with the Yon Twitter clip where he just went 2 minutes completely gathering stacks and zipping all over the place. This is an enabler for the Zeri. This was an enabler for Sketch.
And Sketch doesn't have to worry about a lot of crowd control either. It's really just Cassiopeia being in range of you, and then maybe a stray Senna route will do you in terms of crowd control. Everything else you can dodge out and don't have to worry too much about. The dodge specifically referring to the Tahm Kench Abyssal Dive. That's true for the other member of the team for Evil Genius's Prodigies that's going to be dealing a lot of damage. Rise also doesn't have to worry too much about that either. If he can deal all the spread damage, then that's going to be pretty cool too for Evil Geniuses. They can deal all this damage as well. They've got pretty similar compositions in terms of how many front lines each team has. Gragas on one side, Tahm Kench on the other.
Now, for the early game, my eye is going to be locked on Daption specifically, because Daption is someone who has looked phenomenal in the past, who has been trying to reshape up when it comes to going into that Enchanter pool and really perfecting those roams, perfecting deep warding. The thing here is City Witty is the perfect player to punish that situation. If Daption's not careful, he could quickly get City Witty up to speed and up to tearing apart the Rift.
Yeah, this Lulu, not the easiest champion to survive in, not very mobile, not a lot of means of escaping something like a Kha'Zix. You've got the polymorph, but once you polymorph Kha'Zix, there's a Gwen on top of you, there's a Cassiopeia, and all of this stuff. Oh, wait, look at this, Deserex. It's Duo King playing the Senna and Grain on the Tahm Kench. Wasn't it just Aoki saying that Duo King knows how to play marksman and support? We already seeing it right away.
Yeah, right away pulls it out. Not too much of a surprise. I mean, so far in 2022, Senna's one of the things he does like to grab. He does like to play it. It works out.
I love this. We're getting the analyst desk knowledge in full force for us here for game one. This does mean that it's not going to be farming Senna. Very interesting of a choice. We're also seeing that Evil Genius's Prodigies banning out of the marksman pool rather effective against Duo King, or against Lagrange. The Tristana and the Callista are off the board, so Lagrange says, hey, I'm not going to play a marksman anymore. They banned my two champions. I'm going to play Tahm Kench instead.
That's a fun bit of flexibility right there. They just ban you out. I'll just go to a different lane. It's fine.
I'll be the quote-unquote support, farming it up on Tahm Kench. So the downside of this, of course, is that you are a melee champion into this Zeri, and it's a little tricky to actually farm up sufficiently against these double-ranged champions. Lagrange can actually get all of this down, then it won't be too big of an issue. As wow, Duo King already 2 stacks. That was really clean Senna movement right there.
Coming in, but the push is going to be this way for a bit. Senna, Tahm Kench, not exactly the best at getting control, getting some agency of the bot lane. Not a lane combo that we're too used to seeing in the grand scheme of things, given.
It's been a while. Tahm Kench, of course, making his way up to the top lane recently until the most recent patches that definitely dissuaded him from that position, mainly with the thick skin being less effective if there are fewer enemies around you. So
And it's hard to ever miss out when Tahm Kench is in the meta, because Twitch chat won't let you forget. The unbench the Kench memes are just too pristine, just too perfect.
unload the toad, unclog the frog.
Uninhibit the ribbit.
Yep, we got a whole bunch of them. I think the memes are hilarious. He is a catfish, though. So, you know, even though he looks sort of like a frog. I don't know. We're maybe I'm dissecting these memes a little too.
Look, I'm just saying the designer is wrong. It is a frog. It's not a catfish. Right on.
Frogs don't have tails, though. They just cut off the tail and he'll be a frog, I guess.
Tadpole.
Oh wow. Yeah, unroll the tadpole. Yeah, look at that.
Oh no, I wasn't saying the reference. I mean, tadpoles have tails, and Existence is about to have a dive coming his way as 3 men underneath his tower.
Wow.
It's easy. First blood going the way of EGP.
Can't do much about that. Evil Genius's Prodigies, they take all of their own camps there for parry and then immediately move up to the top lane alongside Leo. Yeah, just really nice movement there. Leo just teleported into his lane and used that time to push in and go directly top. Let's watch it again.
So, a pretty easy setup here, just cutting the wave out, Existence underneath his tower. Already lost half his health before this engage started.
And you can see just how patient they're being, knowing that they don't really need to start the team fight, start the skirmish, I should say, until everyone is in range. And, more importantly, until the Hallowed Mist expires, because that allows Leo to deal as much damage as possible. Still giving the kill over to Faisal and denying all these minions under the turret too. Really big lead now in that top lane.
So good start there on the top side for EGP. Meanwhile, in the other lanes, going relatively even so far, still keeping a close eye on City Witty to see when he is going to start going for these ganks, when he's going to start spotting out people, possibly out of rotation.
That's what Kha'Zix is all about, you know, thriving in chaos. And, of course, you know, all the bug evolution stuff that he's got. That's definitely a part of his mantra. See if he can make that one happen.
Wait, what? Legend of Arceus just came out?
Yeah, exactly.
Got the evolutions on check.
It's a good time. He's definitely trying to put on his best impression there, as he's only level 4 and needs to farm up a bit more to match that of Perry, who did get the experience from the top lane dive, so he's kind of cheating there in terms of jungle experience. City Witty will need to get that level 6 in order to actually get those evolutions on time.
Nice there with the snare. It's going to force Sketch to stop his recall, and now they're going in for the kill! The Frog able to tongue him on the back end. That will be a kill going over to Ginger, Turmeric, Duo, King, and Lagrange. Looking good in that last exchange. Really putting on the tempo.
Yeah, just way too greedy for Daption. Taking that recall underneath that brush. Whether or not it's warded, you're really far up, and if you do get hit by the Senna W, you are dead. Needed to flash it, as it turns out. Couldn't quite manage the dodge. With the bot lane priority, City Witty takes away the Infernal Drake. And Ginger Turmeric off to the races.
All right, so far, very slow game to start this one off, as plays being made very slight, very careful, only a bit at a time when they're calculated out, and you can tell EGP looking to calculate another one for the top side, but Existence knows he's being camped. He knows there's a lot of attention over there. Perry just waiting in the bush, stuns him up, and isolates him from getting anywhere near these minion waves.
Existence is not hitting level 6 anytime soon. Look at this. He's denied all of this experience. Oh, wait. He actually is able to sneak underneath this turret as Perry makes his escape. Alright, I was wrong. He will hit level 6 off of this wave eventually. And it's less devastating than we had previously imagined, although he lost a few good minions out there. Faisal getting a lot of experience and a lot of resources from this team.
And City Witty's kind of struggling to get a lane to play off of. Did get his recall, got a pickaxe. It's a good chunk of damage to start working with. Taking this next recall right now. This is when we should start to see City Witty moving around the map. He has just hit level 6, so has his first evolution.
Oh yeah. I actually am really curious which one he actually went for. If we can take a look at him real quick. Be an interesting thing to keep track of. Because we have seen a few of the Kha'Zixes in our tournaments start with the ultimate evolution, which is really curious. You get an extra charge of it, of course. More stealth time is nice. With the what is looking to be a Stride Breaker build, Maybe just more utility with the spikes is what he's looking for, because the slow is going to be quite nice.
He's starting to stalk over towards the mid lane, both junglers hovering around this area. DNA starting up. City Witty looking to jump in. Doesn't have the wings, so it's a long distance on the jump as the Petrifying Gaze comes out, but no kills to be had.
Leo does have to flash, so maybe a return gank in the future. Of course, Petrifying Gaze a much shorter cooldown as they do know where the Kha'Zix is.
Yeah, both sweeping each other out, thinking they had the one-up on each other, not realizing Leo was waiting in the wings. City Witty, quick hop out.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about Kha'Zix. You have the extra mobility. Just waiting in mid lane right there. I had to make sure that he was actually moving and it wasn't like a disconnect or something. That would have been tragic. Want to make sure that all teams are firing on all cylinders. Moving up to this top side is City Witty, and I don't believe he actually sees the parry as taking the Rift Herald right now.
Has no idea. Roaming out, Leo providing some assistance for parries. So Rift Herald easily going over to EGP. And it's a slow game where City Witty's not having too much agency, too much presence. It's allowing Perry to kind of pick and choose the plays he wants to make.
Honestly, Desirux, when we have a really slow game like this, we have to consider the late game scaling of these teams. And Ginger Turmeric, they have infinite scaling with Senna. Duo King has been stacking up very nicely off of the opposing champions, and because he is the support in this lane. So he's not actually last hitting, he's getting all of the stacks at full chances and odds for those to drop. So he's likely going to have a lot of those very, very soon, and that is going to be super scary for the team fights. It makes the Zeri range disadvantage even bigger.
Now, still the trades going on at the top side. 10 minutes in, taking a look at the state of the lanes. Going relatively even pretty much all across the board. It's only Perry who's getting more farm in the jungle over City Witty. City Witty really not that far behind, just Perry's been the more active playmaker.
Did make that play up in the top lane twice, in fact, trying to deny existence a bunch of the minion experience and gold. Hasn't quite landed into a full takeover of the lane from Faisal, apart from those turret platings that he has at his disposal on this tank Gragas. You're not really expecting anything too big from this champion. Just anything that you can possibly do to deny Gwen is going to be beneficial.
A lot of respect being seen both ways. Again, they were seated relatively close to each other. You have 7th on the side of EGP, 10th on the side of Ginger Turmeric. So, at least in terms of seeding, you would think they're on a similar skill level, but with the last game we just had, 2nd going against 15th and getting that close to just one auto, never really know what the proving grounds. City Witty looks to gank into the mid lane. There's the Petrifying Gaze! Gets the stun onto Leo. That's going to be a kill for City Witty. Trying to find some redemption is going to be Perry. He will get that form of the snake. Flashes forward, but City returns fire and gets a double.
And leaving the minion wave right there, Perry. That's not what you want to do against Kha'Zix. He will get you with the isolation damage. That's exactly what City Witty does. Double kill for the Kha'Zix, moving back down to the Drake pit, also securing yet another objective on the bug. Feels like he's Slytherin at this point, Desirux.
Well, you got to bring that back up on me, Smacks. What we do got to bring up is that kill on the mid lane off this play. City Witty, the beautiful timing on the Petrifying Gaze catches Leo as he turns around.
Yeah, look at this. Right as soon as he decides to throw a spell is his demise. And even the Senna ultimate helping out just a little bit more. Make sure that one more Cassiopeia Twin Fang can come through and make sure that City Witty actually is able to finish off that kill. And now in the bottom lane.
Ooh, jumping in, not realizing it's a 2v3 Lagrange. Looking to run out. Going to use that Grey Health to get the shield and will back out safely. Bit of attempted play there off the snare, but here comes Shelly hitting the rift in the bot lane.
Back to the original game plan here for Evil Genius's Prodigies. Make sure that Sketchstreams is able to scale into this game. Uh-oh. Wait.
It's not going to get him to scale if he gets caught out there. Almost caught in bad situations. The flash will keep him alive.
Yeah, Perry not quite committing to make sure that Sketchstreams gets that gold, and it costs Sketch his flash. You can see that they really did want to make sure that he actually got that, though, and whether or not that's worth it is to be determined in the next 5 minutes, as he won't have flash for this.
Oh, Faisal. Oh, Faisal. He doesn't have Explode Cast, so this dive is very doable. Looking to jump in, uses the Blast Plant. No ward, Faisal. He doesn't see it coming. The ultimate is popped. Sneaks on in. Easy kill picked up there in the top lane. Just playing with that low health. Playing with that lane aggression that we've seen from Existence getting Faisal that low.
Yeah, I really love that call on the top lane there. As you can see, like you called out to, Existence and Faisal had traded ultimates in a previous skirmish. And Existence did ignite as well, making sure the Faisal was low enough for Citywitty to come clean up that kill. And while it did go over to Existence, Citywitty is still making so many solid plays around the Rift right now. I really love this look.
So only 15 seconds left before tower plates fall. Taking a gauge at how many have gotten picked up. Some good success coming out of Faisal over into that top lane, who was able to grab 2. Now starting to sway in the way of Existence after that last exchange. 2 picked up in the bot lane on the side of EGP. But the turret plates now go down. A very slow game 14 minutes into this.
Do want to highlight the items here for sketch streams just briefly, as we do see a very vastly different item selection from what we usually do. It's the crit build. I really like the crit build. You actually do a lot more damage if you are in range. That is the big caveat. You have to be in range to make sure that the damage actually comes through. The static shiv damage, like the spread on the ultimate, does get increased by crit strike. So that is a recent change that makes sure that people are more keen on buying critical strike on Zeri, and Sketchstreams thinks it's enough. So I'm really excited to see if he can actually deal all of that damage that this champion has been known to do on this new build.
And the big go button coming out from Lagrange, who has finished the chem tank. Really wanting to jump in, really wanting to take fights. See Citywitty just freeing up the lane over here. As a rotation comes out of Existence, you're now starting to get that control of the top side. And this is going to result in Existence bleeding that control towards the jungle of EGP, stealing away some of these camps.
They were thinking about taking the... oh, that's unfortunate. They were thinking about taking away the Rift Herald, but instead...
Oh, a great petrifying gaze from DNA. Denies any engage from EGP. They lose their jungler in the process. Well timed by DNA.
Oh, Desterux, at this point, we're starting to get the feeling that Ginger Turmeric are going to run away with this one. Their scaling is pretty nice, as I mentioned with the Senna before. This lead is huge, too. About 4,000 in the lead in terms of gold. That's a Rift Herald now picked up as well. Ginger Turmeric are looking so on point at this point.
DNA hasn't picked up a kill yet, but... my goodness, those 3 assists have been so fantastic to watch unfold. Now the Rift Herald being dropped into the mid lane, making a play for this tower. Should be picked up by Ginger Turmeric. Suddenly an engage coming out of EGP, making sure that that damage cannot finish it off. And now here comes Sketch, here comes Perry, here comes the knockup onto Duo King. Duo King gets devoured, gets saved. Citywitty looking to jump over the wall, will find safety. DNA almost getting the kill onto Faisal. He will get it with the tick on the poison, but falls in the process. A 1-for-1 thus far. Lagrange getting chased away. EGP and Ginger Turmeric doing battle smacks.
A 1-for-1 is okay at the end because Ginger Turmeric didn't keep everybody in range. The only time that they have to worry about something like that happening is if Perry can get those resets and if he can start wiping the entirety of the team fight. Luckily for Ginger Turmeric, that did not happen this time. They still have everybody on the Rift, and that's 3 Drakes in a row for Citywitty. 1 away from Hextech Soul. Oh boy.
Good positioning coming out here for Ginger Turmeric, being 4K in the lead. Really starting to hold control as we head into this mid game. It's a rough state for EGP. You got some income going on to Perry. You got a little bit on to Faisal, but the 2 places you really need it with Leo and Sketch, they haven't been able to really get those kills. They haven't been able to start getting that bank coming, get that bank rolling.
Yeah, now that the lane is over, we can see that Lagrange actually did keep pace in CS as a melee champion against 2 ranged. That is quite the feat for him. So very, very well done for the Ginger Turmeric bottom lane pair. They I have to watch as their red buff gets smited away, as the Hex Gates shenanigans are starting to happen.
Good old Hex map. I say good old, it's brand new. What am I saying right here? Chased away, EGP. They get the steal. They wanted to deny some resources out from City Witty. Rightfully so. City Witty has been farming quite well in this game so far. Spent a lot of that early game, rather than flying lane pressure, just farming up safely.
Turret's now dead for Ginger Turmeric. 3-0 on that one. All the outers gone. We talked a lot about the effect of that in the last series, and it's still true for this one. Now we can see Ginger Turmeric are going to be able to take all these camps away, starting with the red buff there for City Witty. Perry, not interested right now, looking for an engage on DNA, but can't do it.
It's hard to engage on a Cassiopeia when you don't have any like instant blink to get there. Don't have any distortion. Now here comes City Witty after Perry. Perry chased out of his own jungle as Daption, providing some backup to get City Witty out of that location. But look how deep Ginger Turmeric are. They've lit up this red side jungle of EGP.
This is what they're allowed to do after taking all of these objectives as well. The vision game on top of all the jungle camps going down. Existence is just able to hang out in the Gromp pit. Likely take this one away outside of a stray Leo Q. But he's more interested in the minions. Again, Ginger Turmeric completely choking them out of their own camps. All these resources, all of this scaling is now twofold for Ginger Turmeric.
Here comes the ultimate being used from Existence. The Realm Warp comes out in time. Leo ticking with that Ignite will be able to survive. Quite tense there, as Existence is just stalking his prey. He's set up in this top lane so well to succeed.
You know what I'm going to say? Duo King, you're a coward for not using ult there. I would have done that for sure. Trying to find the kill. Or at least the flash. Doesn't go. You know, I say that I do respect the hesitancy, but still coward.
Do smacks.
No, you got me. I don't.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I mean, you would get a rough idea of where he's going, right? He's just trying to get away as fast as possible. It's not like he's going to pick the most creative path. Should people scout that out, Duo King? Come on!
He was ignited. That's why I was bringing it up, because he had vision of him. So there's really only a few ways that he could go from there. Didn't even try for it, honestly. Gotta at least go for it sometimes. You know, Ginger Turmeric, they're already in that lead. I understand wanting to keep the lead. We see them just really take over the entire Rift. Honestly, for those of you watching at home, this probably feels like a pretty big upset at this point. For Ginger Turmeric, not entirely against our expectations, truthfully. These players have been around for quite some time. We've seen them play in the last few years of Proving Ground Circuit and Scouting Ground Circuit, and we know that these guys are really good. The competitive drive regained for both Proving Grounds and Champions Queue, and this is the result. They're doing very, very well as a team.
Pieces are clicking, they are synergizing. And off that synergy, only thing that doesn't really change as we head into the 21st minute of this game is the top lane. Existence, he's living up there. Wants nowhere else to be, just wants to keep shoving this wave to apply pressure for the rest of Ginger Turmeric to continue establishing vision at any point of EGP's jungle. Now they're looking for the next one because they realize Dragon Soul is going to be on the board in the next 20 seconds. City gets caught out, though. Is going to use the stopwatch, gets devoured. He should be able to stay safe. Going after Perry. Perry's running the wrong way. City's on his tail. The knockup from the Abyssal Voyage. City's starting to get lower, but the fight on the backside coming out from Ginger Turmeric. A kill as Perry falls. Now Existence trying to get away. Gets caught out by Leo, but barely dashes in time. Leo will flash over him. A double kill comes in for DNA. Over the wall comes Duo King and City Witty, and they will finish up the job all but Faisal. It's all that's needed to get themselves a Dragon Soul.
DNA's doing it. Desirux, he's making the comeback happen back in the Proving Ground space. I'm so proud of him after his tenure in Dignitas Mirage, making the team fights happen. And the way that Ginger Turmeric split that up was so crucial for them. This team fight is so easy when everything's split up. That's what Kha'Zix, that's what Gwen want to do. And they execute so well. It's Drake Soul, that's Baron, and that's probably going to be the game.
Oh, Perry's going to try and contest, but it's way too late now. He will still come in for the counter engage. Jumping in with the Hex Gate, and the Realm Warp is going to be Leo into 4. Destroyed as Perry starts to back up, starting to respect the authority of Ginger Turmeric. Chase right away.
Let's watch that last team fight one more time, Deserex, as we see the engage. Sidiwitty actually caught out, but he has so much at his disposal to survive this. The stopwatch purchase, crucial. And then the Tahm Kench ultimate too. This is exactly what I was talking about. You split up everybody. Perry cannot appreciate the rest of his team's damage, and he can't get the resets because of this either. Meanwhile, on the other side, DNA hits a huge petrifying gaze, and he's able to completely overcome all of the DPS in this team fight and just completely destroy everybody right there. Beautiful stuff from both Sidiwitty and DNA and every other member here to help them out.
All coming together so well as they do grab that Baron and put themselves in prime positioning to start closing this out.
Yeah, here it is.
Continuing that positioning straight for the siege. They go right for the mid lane inhibitor.
Doesn't really feel like Evil Genius's Prodigies can do anything about this. The inhibitor likely is about to fall. Faisal could get creative with an ultimate, but doesn't really look like he's looking for the angle. More interested in saving the top lane turret. If he can, while he can. I'm not super convinced this Baron buff is helping out the minions quite tremendously. There they go.
Mid lane inhibitor down. Existence still in the top lane. Daption, my goodness! Loses so much health. 2/3 of his health erased in the blink of an eye. Now the siege looking to continue from Ginger Turmeric. 5 members strong. Having this soul as well to work with on this siege, to work with on this engage. Lagrange looking to lead the charge alongside Sidiwitty. Out comes the explosive pass. They're able to get it onto DNA. Devoured so quick. Lagrange keeps him alive. And it's not going to be the same story for EGP as the Elfbars are eviscerated by Ginger Turmeric. Sketch, only one alive as his Nexus towers up in flames. Sidiwitty just gonna give him a friendly hello, friendly handshake. Thanks for the game number 1. We'll see you in game number 2, brother. This game number 1 goes over to Ginger Turmeric.
A phenomenal first bout in this tournament here for Ginger Turmeric. This is why I was so excited about this team, Deserex. You're seeing it. You're seeing it. Everybody's home seeing it. The desk is seeing it. Oh, I'm pumped right now. This team fights were so cool to watch from them as well. Especially Lagrange. This Tahm Kench, for an 80 carry player, looked really good.
That was hilarious. Those were some of the best times devours that you could have possibly had. So many times we're close to getting out that high priority target. We're so close to getting DNA. We're so close to getting Sidiwitty. Nope. Devour right there. Lagrange takes him home. Team fights 1.
That's so awesome. I really love the creativity and the flexibility that we're seeing from this bot lane pair already. You ban out 5 marksmen in the first phase, and what does he do? He just goes to the support instead. Lagrange, flexible as ever, and he needs to be for this team to actually work. He's the only frontline on this team, and the rest of this set of champions so volatile. They need very specific things in these team fights and in the skirmishes to actually work out. Lagrange providing it to them so beautifully, and the team fights are just so easy from there. Really nicely done.
Hell of a game 1 to come out of Ginger Turmeric. We're going to throw it over to short break. When we return, the analyst desk will get their turn to dissect this matchup.